Hey everyone. Okay, so I'm actually in 106 and this might get a little noisy depending on who comes in. So bear with me. However, I did want to get this out to you guys sooner rather than later, so here we go. So I'm going to show you today how to install WordPress on your site. So the first thing you're going to have to do is decide what directory you want that to live in. So I'm going to go over to FileZilla and I'm in the root directory. I'm already connected, and I'm gonna start building this in the Oliver folder. So if you want this to live in the root folder, say your domain is brianwiley.net and that points at the root, then all you got to do is drop it into the root folder. But if you want to subdivide your hosting package to host several websites with the same server space, then you got to make a new directory, and we covered that previously, so I'm going to assume you know how to do that. But we're going to double click in here, and I already have some stuff in here that's no big deal. None of the names conflict, as you'll soon see. So we got it all primed and ready, and I'm going to go over to wordpress.org, not .com, and I'm going to download WordPress. This is going to give you the most recent version, and that's a good thing, so you don't have to update it right after you install it. So here it is. I'm going to show it in the Finder, and we are going to unzip it. And this is really important. If you drag this whole WordPress 4 folder into your directory, it's going to create a directory with the name WordPress 4, which is going to need to be specified if you're going to it directly. And it won't just go to it if that's how you do it. So what you need to do is double click in this, select everything, and then drag it on in. Now this is going to take a second, and we're going to let that run for a while. So what I'm going to do while we're waiting is I need to go over to my cPanel, the control panel, and this can be whatever host you have. 1 and 1 is mine. I'm going to log in. If I'd been smart, I would have done this beforehand, but hopefully it just takes a second. Here we go. So we need to set up something called a MySQL Database, and this is what allows your stuff to be written to every time you add a new page via WordPress. So you're creating a database that the WordPress software, for lack of a better term, maybe that's an incorrect term, but anyway, you get the gist. We'll be able to call up and make changes to automatically without you having to go in and manually change files. So you can add content via this. So here we are. Most hosting packages come with a certain amount. Ooh, bad news. Okay, we're going to pause this real quick and come back when I have a power charger plugged in. We're back. Okay, so we're going to create a new database. You can see I have 20 available. I've only used 10. And so we're going to come up here, click Create Database. We're going to give it a brief description just so I can remember it when I've got a pile of 20 sitting there. And we'll call this Oliver's site. I'm going to give this a temporary password since you're all going to see it eventually. Here we go. We'll call it, let's show password so I don't forget it. Design1. And we'll click Save. So take a second while we're waiting. We'll see how we're doing over here. Still going. Keep in mind you're uploading quite a bit of information, And even though it's not a large file set, there's a lot of them and it needs to verify them, so it might take a minute. Okay, so we're going to sit on this for a minute or two, but this is super important, and I will show you why. These, all these credentials are how WordPress is going to connect with your database, and that again allows that software, again for lack of a better term, to make updates and edits and everything via the WordPress dashboard. So we got to tell it where this all lives, and what we do there is we come into the WP config sample file, and we are going to duplicate it, and we're going to get rid of the sample. Then we're going to open it up and edit it. And right here, these lines are where you're going to put the MySQL settings. So if we go back to, excuse me, this page in our cPanel, where it says password, first thing I'm going to do is put in design1 exclamation mark, and it needs to be between the single prime marks. I'm going to copy the host name, and we're going to put it here. I'm going to copy the database name and put it here. The username goes here. And that is all you need to change. We're going to hit save, and we're going to close out of this. And so what we're going to do now, as soon as this is done, we're going to upload this and to our directory, wherever that lives, and we're going to delete the WP config sample file. Again, but we're going to wait. We don't want it to be doing two things at once quite yet. And then I'm going to click refresh on this page and see if the database is in fact done setting up. This may take a few minutes, so we'll take a quick break and come back when it's all finished.